what is the philosophy of naturopathic medicine?
Oh my God, that's such a big question. I'll do my best to be concise, but I'm never a concise person, so I'll do my best. But it's basically like trusting the power of nature. And then you're like, cool, that sounds really nice. But like, what the hell does that even mean, right? Like, what does it mean to trust the power of nature? Like, what does it mean to trust that there are specific ways that nature shows up time and time again? And so if we can see those patterns and understand how those patterns are conveyed, then we can really start to figure out where we need to intercept and figure out how to kind of rewind the wheel a little bit, right?
Hmm.
And trusting that the body, like I think another really beautiful example of what I mean by that is that trusting the body has mechanisms in place to do what it needs to do to get us where we need to be. And I think that, I mean, you and I kind of joke about this, right? Like friends get fevers and we're like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, look at you and your immune system go. And it's like, that's kind of like the side of naturopathy that people are like, well, that's fringy and weird, because we've always been taught to take Tylenol, which is like crazy toxic. And I like think about this all the time. I'm like, if I could take one drug off of the over the counter market, it would easily be Tylenol. Like if I could choose one, that would be my drug. I would be like, can we just like not have this in the home cupboard of people? Like, I think that we overall would just be healthier as a human species. That's a side tangent for another day, but like ultimately it's that our body has these internal mechanisms to heat us up when we are sick so that we can speed up the enzyme activity so that our immune system can ramp up so we can get the cells to the different locations that they need to go, because heat is speed, right? Like heat is our catalyst. Heat is what gets our enzymes rocking and rolling. And so I think about the importance of that mechanism and how do we support that mechanism, because that mechanism is ultimately supporting us. And so it's really about understanding what the body is doing, why it's doing it, and how to support it in doing what it needs to do to get back to health.
Amazing. I actually want to go into that. One thing I want you to do is just like a little housekeeping thing. You're going to grab your mic here. Oh, yeah, and just you don't have to hold it all the way up, but just hold it out. It's so funny, the iPhone, which they sound beautiful, but even like a piece of hair on that mic, it's like as an audio file. Oh my God. So people that are going to watch this, and I would tell you to go check it out on YouTube because we'll put it on YouTube as well. But Piper has like big, like long, curly, luscious hair, unlike myself. So hair on the microphone is something I don't have to worry. And I actually, you said conversation for another time, Piper, but I would love to just talk about that idea of heat being a catalyst. It is. Every time I've had a fever, it's like, what do I do to get rid of this fever? When I think about back to high school chemistry, what would we have to do? And we would add a couple substances together to get a chemical reaction. We would put a burner under it. We would add heat. So just talk a little bit more about the idea of we want heat in the body to improve enzyme activity. You message what else?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so think about when we have if we have a fever, we're generally thinking that we've got some sort of a bacteria or viral infliction to the body, right? And we could start with that because it's very basic and it's an easy thing for people to visualize. But it's like, cool, you had something come in and it's wreaking havoc on the system. So the system now has to do what it can to protect itself. When that happens, like when we have heat, we're dilating blood vessels, right? So we have more ability to move blood to greater locations, right? Because the blood vessels are dilated. So now they can expand further, they can go further. We can have more blood in the system because there's a wider opening. The blood is what carries the immune system, right? So like when we need immune support, we need the blood vessels to start working with us and talking with the body to be like, oh wow, it's time for me to go here because like, we're not doing so great today. We should probably clean this up, and the immune system has a job and it's going to do its job. And the most beautiful thing is that like we talk so poorly of inflammation because we live in chronic disease America where everyone has inflammation that's not turning off, which we'll get to with the worms. But like what's really cool is that we need inflammation. We need to have the inflammatory response to have the body go through its healing crisis, right? Like it needs to go through that heating crisis so it can do its job through the immune system to attack whatever the foreign invader is, to then allow the body to clean it up, right? A lot of the immune response is also like a cleanup crew. Like they're coming in, they're breaking things down, they're moving it out of the system. And so it's like, if we can support that process and relax, not go to work, not eat a ton of food. Like we always say, fast a fever, right? Because if you are munching down on a meal when you feel like hell and your body's sweating, now all that blood has to divert to the digestive tract and try and do the nutritional sweep it does there. So it's like, cool, we don't want to like miss the opportunity to get all the goods over here. But like, we're also trying to fight a battle over here. So you're like asking the system to do a lot. So it's like rest, fast, hydrate, because our blood is also massive amount of water. So we need to keep fluids and hydration going through. And that's also where we detox. So like our kidneys, when we need to pee out everything, we need to be replacing what's going into that bathtub. You know, I tell my patients that they're essentially a bathtub, like you're a sack of cells in a big clawfoot bathtub. And if you're not constantly putting fresh water in and draining water out, think about how nasty your bath water gets, like after just like one soaking. You know, you want to continue to replenish that so the body has places to dump the garbage and get the garbage out, right? And that's really through the lymphatics.
Yeah.